があっても足りないぞ。
Hello, and welcome back to Gemma Movie Recap Channel. Today, we're going to tell you the storyline of a movie called Kingdom from the year 2019. Telling us the story of the life of a Qing general named Li Xin, who lived as a slave since childhood. So, how does Xin change his life's trajectory? Let's find out through the video and follow the storyline until the end. But before we start, please support our channel by subscribing and click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, let's start. In the year 255 BCE in the western part of China, there lived an orphan child named Li Xin in the state of Qing. Xin was supposed to be taken to a village and sold as a slave. On the journey, he was mesmerized by a cavalry unit led by a great sky general. Upon arriving in a small village, Xin met another slave named Piao, and from that moment on, Xin and Piao became friends. They both desired to escape their slave status and dreamed of becoming great generals in the future. This drove them to start training with swords together, and they grew up together. One day, a Qing royal minister named Chang Wen-jun accidentally witnessed them practicing. Unexpectedly, Minister Jun became interested in Piao's abilities and recruited him to work at the palace. Despite being left behind, Xin never lost his spirit. Piao's departure only fueled his determination to train harder so that he could also be recruited by the royal minister in the future. A few days later, Xin was surprised by the arrival of a severely wounded Piao. Piao informed him that a rebellion was taking place in the Qing royal palace led by the king's younger brother. There was a power struggle between the two siblings, and Piao had become a victim of it. He then pulled out a map and instructed Xin to go to the designated meeting point he had marked. Xin, still confused and unsure of the details, knew he had to leave before the royal forces found him. Reluctantly, he had to leave Piao's body behind, determined to seek revenge on whoever had done this to his friend. In summary, Xin eventually arrived at the meeting point, where he was astonished to see a young man who looked remarkably like Piao. It turned out to be Ying Zheng, the king of the Qing kingdom. Before Xin could inquire about anything, he and the king were suddenly attacked by an assassin sent by the king's younger brother. To protect the king, Xin began to employ all the sword techniques he had learned to fight against the assassin. Finally, thanks to his sword skills, Xin managed to defeat the assailant. Due to the rebellion by his younger brother, King Ying could only flee as he was separated from his forces. Before leaving with Xin, they unexpectedly encountered a girl from the mountain tribe named He Liaobiao. She offered to be their guide in exchange for a sum of money. During the journey, King Ying explained that from the beginning, Piao had been groomed to take the king's place in dangerous situations. Because their faces were so similar, Piao could be used to protect the real king. Now, Cheng Jiao, the younger brother of King Ying, had staged a rebellion by attacking the king and seizing control of the Qing kingdom. This explanation left Xin feeling angry. He was disappointed that the kingdom seemed to value Piao's life so little. However, for the time being, he had to investigate the source of the problem before seeking revenge. The scene then shifts to the situation in the Qing palace, where Cheng Jiao, the usurper, receives news that his hired assassin was found dead. He is disappointed to learn that King Ying is still alive out there, and Minister Chang Wen-jun, King Ying's trusted confidant, has yet to be found. Shortly after, the great general Wang Qi, also known as the Great Sky General, arrives to meet Cheng Jiao. He presents the severed head of Chang Wen-jun and requests the reward of Chang Wen-jun's territories to be handed over to him. Without hesitation, Cheng Jiao readily agrees to the demand. For him, the most important thing at the moment is to eliminate King Ying's trusted allies, making it easier for him to consolidate his power. In summary, King Ying, Xin, and Jiao eventually arrive in the mountain tribe's territory. As they venture through a bamboo forest, they are once again attacked by an assassin. Although initially overwhelmed, Xin manages to defeat the assassin, albeit getting hit by a poisoned arrow that renders him unconscious. Several days later, Xin regains consciousness after receiving herbal treatment from Diao. At that time, King Ying takes him into hiding in an ancient and used royal stronghold of the Qing kingdom. King Ying then reveals to Shen that he and Cheng Jiao actually have different mothers. King Ying's mother was a dancer, which led Cheng Jiao to consider him unworthy of the throne due to his half-noble status. This triggered the rebellion, resulting in the current civil war. Shortly after, King Ying's remaining forces, led by Chang Wenjun, arrive at their location. If Chang Wenjun is still alive, then whose head did General Wang Qi bring? From this, it can be deduced that General Wang Qi deliberately manipulated the situation within the palace to achieve his own goals, even if it meant lying to Cheng Jiao. Now, King Ying's remaining forces are willing to escort the king to reclaim the throne. In the royal palace, Cheng Jiao is seen having gathered an army of 80,000 soldiers to kill King Ying and his forces, as well as to overthrow Chancellor Lu Buwei, who had been supporting King Ying. Returning to King Ying and his forces, they begin strategizing on how to infiltrate the palace. They cannot rely on Chancellor Lu Buwei's assistance, as he also desires the throne. After a lengthy discussion, they decide to seek help from the Mountain Tribe, former allies of the Qin royal family who were betrayed centuries ago. After a long journey, King Ying and his forces arrive in the territory of the Mountain Tribe. There, they are captured and brought before the tribe's leader, Yang Duanhe. Yang Duanhe orders one of the soldiers to behead Shen, but Shen fights back with his sword skills. Shen tries to explain to Yang Duanhe that despite their past alliance, they still share a common goal. If they truly want to honor their ancestors who sacrificed their lives, they should at least fulfill the goals and aspirations of their ancestors. Shen's words impress Yang Duanhe, who removes her mask and agrees to form an alliance with King Ying. In summary, King Ying and his army eventually arrive at the royal palace, disguised as part of the Mountain Tribe. Yang Duanhe arrives there to offer an alliance to Cheng Jiao in order to confront Lu Buwei. Upon hearing the request, Ji Shi, Cheng Jiao's advisor, only allows 50 people to enter the palace. Once King Ying and his forces successfully enter the palace, Shen, Diao, and a few soldiers are sent through an underground passage, and they begin their attack according to the plan. King Ying and Yang Duanhe, along with their respective forces, encounter the royal army, as well as Shen's forces facing General Zhuo Shi and a giant creature named Lan Kai. With good teamwork, Shen and the others manage to defeat Lan Kai and some of the royal soldiers. Fierce battles also occur outside. King Ying and Yang Duanhe fight side by side, fighting fiercely and killing many soldiers. In summary, Shen and the others finally reach inside the palace. There, Cheng Jiao sends General Zhuo Shi to confront them, leading to an unavoidable duel between Zhuo Shi and Shen. Although Shen is initially underestimated and seen as incapable of defeating a general, his memories of Piao and his unwavering belief in his dream awaken his strength. He manages to defeat General Zhuo Shi. Seeing the situation, Ji Shi attempts to save Cheng Jiao, but he is struck in the eye by an arrow from Diao. Ji Shi retaliates but is ultimately killed by the Mountain Tribe soldiers. Fortunately, Diao remains unharmed due to the protective armor he wears. Outside, Cheng Jiao faces King Ying Zheng. King Ying Zheng easily defeats Cheng Jiao. After his victory, King Ying Zheng is confronted by remaining forces still loyal to Cheng Jiao. Eventually, General Wang Qi arrives to meet King Ying Zheng. He asks King Ying Zheng what he plans to do as a king. King Ying Zheng responds that he intends to become the first king to unite China and vows to use his power to ensure peace in the future. General Wang Qi is highly satisfied with the king's answer. He decides to ally himself with King Ying Zheng and orders Cheng Jiao's forces to retreat. When the soldiers refuse to obey his command, General Wang Qi demonstrates his prowess in facing them all. The battle ends with the enemy general's death at the hands of Shen. Seizing the moment, Shen shares his dream of becoming a great sky general in the future. Upon hearing this, Wang Qi smiles and declares that he will await Shen on the true battlefield. With this victory, King Ying Zheng successfully reclaims his throne and begins to restructure the kingdom for the next phase of his goals. And the movie finally ended. What do you think of the movie? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and support the channel by subscribing and click the bell icon so that you won't miss our future recaps. And if you have any movie you want us to recap, please do tell us in the comments section as well. And until next time.